So hi everyone, welcome to our webinar and session together today. So we're going to be looking at the Trados technology that's available for universities for teaching and learning around the world. My name's Fiona Merwood. I'm a marketing manager at RWS, and I'm going to be joined as well by Lydia Simplicio, who's a senior business consultant at RWS. In fact, we both work in the Trados Technologies side of the business, and also we both work on the university's programme, the RWS campus. So let's make a little start on our session together today. So the usual logistics for us will be together for around 45 minutes. I'm recording and I'll share that recording afterwards. Hopefully you can all hear, and we are collecting any questions that you might have via the Q&A or the chat functions in GoToWebinar. Obviously, we're all connected by the internet. All being well, everything will be fine. But if there's any problems, just suggestions are to refresh your browser session, perhaps log back in, rejoin the webinar. So quite a streamlined agenda. We're going to do a few slides about the campus and what it's all about really, and just introduce that to you in case it's new. And then we'll look at the Trados technology for teaching and a little bit of an inside look at how it works for the lecturer and student. It's an overview really, but will be a little demonstration by Lydia, which actually we've recorded. So it'll be me sharing a video of Lydia, and then Lydia's going to join for the questions as well. So that's us. So very delighted to be part of the RWS campus programme, which is our all our activities with universities around the world. So that's for lecturers and for students, and as part of that, we're really looking for nurturing that localization talent of tomorrow. And as the world's largest language service provider, as well as a technology provider, we're very much wedded to the idea of supporting you and supporting learning for the future of the business and of the localization industry generally. And just to say as well, we're around 6 months ago, this said about 600 universities around the world. Now it's more than 700 and growing, and in 65 countries at least. So as you can see, we're got quite a wide remit, and hopefully those connections will continue to grow and benefit all of us. So just about what the campus does. So as a programme, we offer internships to universities, to localization students and scholars studying. So that's a professional programme of development for them. I'll come on to that in a little bit more detail. And as part of that, we have presentations and workshops that we run for universities, and we offer the Trados technology. So just briefly about the internships and careers side. So yeah, we're very focused on the students and developing them in terms of tomorrow's professionals in their localization industry. So we place about 190 plus students every year, and that's growing each year. And that means some professional training for them, usually on a sort of fairly standard programme, in actually very many topic areas. I'll come on to that in a second, but just also to say that interns that do come to us, I think it's around 24% in the last year have become permanently employed by RWS's translators or programme project managers, should I say, and around 19% freelance translators. So as you can see, nearly half of those that intern with us do want to work with us. So that's a great benefit to us and our business as well. And these are the type of areas, as well as the typical translation areas. These are the sort of things that we can help students and scholars with. So subtitling, interpreting, translation for voiceovers, transcription of text and transcreation, but also there's more careers in our WS, so in the talent management area, in finance, in sales and marketing, and in the technology side. So that's the type of thing that we offer there. And then for the technology for teaching, which is particularly what we're talking about today, and first of all, just to mention that Trados is very much endemic in the localization business and preferred by localization professionals. Around 80% in the industry use us, and we've got more than a growing population of localization professionals use Trados Studio, which is our CAT tool, computer assisted translation tool. And we have over 35 years of R&D in our products, so that's a great reinvestment of technologies that we're continually improving all the time. So Trados for teaching, yep, so we've got the latest technology for you. It's not some kind of cut down version for academic use. It's our full product that we would normally provide to translation agencies, LSPs and larger corporations. It is a bit of a self-service situation, and this was really rolled out, became available and coincided with the pandemic, that it became very much a self-service program. So it's easy to get going, quite quick to get going and set up, with guides and training available online. And we have a community that we'll come on to explain a bit more about, which is freely available to everyone. But more importantly, this technology side is free now to university partners that join our program. Okay, so just to sort of recap everything that's in the campus program on the technology side. So we offer our cloud collaboration software, as I just mentioned, and we have this exclusive online community. So it's the RWS community, and we have a whole area in there for the campus. And within there are guides for setting up your technology, for setting up your courses, and videos and so on, and help basically to get started. We offer some training and certification, particularly for students. So the Trados certification for Trados Studio is free for students, and so they can get qualified, and this is a professional qualification that's recognised by LSPs. We have levels 1, 2, 3, and post-editing as well, if that was something that they were interested in doing. So all of those are available. The materials are really comprehensive, and some lecturers I know use the Trados certification materials in their CAT tool element of their curriculum, because they are quite useful really for learning. And the student will get the exams. They get 3 attempts on the exams. It's an online exam that's timed, so that's useful to know. Students do also directly just have their own access to discounts for the purchase of Trados Studio for their own use. And annually we enable lecturers to nominate 2 top students that have done particularly well on this on the technology side, and award them with a top student award. So that also enables them to get a free Trados Studio license for their own use. So that's something nice to do, and not a lot of lecturers take this up. It is available to you, and it gives the student a nice bonus for their career as well. And we have our most recent top students will be featured on our website, and we change that about every 6 months, top of the year and in the summer. So let's get on to the technology, Trados Team and Trados Studio, and a little bit about how that looks and how that works. So for the lecturer, Trados Team, or Trados Live Team as it's often known or was known, we've recently changed the name. So if you hear Trados Live Team and Trados Team, they're both the same thing. So this is where you will get your technology. It enables you to plan your project tasks and set up resources in the cloud for students. And then from a student's perspective, they will simply log on. It can either work in the online editor or in Trados Studio. They can accept tasks that you set for them, be they translation, review, or project management tasks, and they can also access resources in there and whatever you decide to allocate as part of the project. So for the tutor, how it looks is you would have the ability to log in with your account. It's the same account that you use RWS account. And then you can set up your users or students in Trados team, and then also you have the ability to license them. So you basically give them the permission to use a license. You just have to download the installers and distribute those. You can set up tutor groups for students, and we'll look at that a little bit more in the demonstration that Lydia is going to do for us. And so those projects then that you can set up would have access to whatever resources you decide to make available, translation memories, term bases, and if you decided to include it, machine translation. Obviously, we understand that mainly at the degree level, machine translation would not be part of your teaching, but it may be something that you might teach later in the curriculum or at master's level, where post-editing is a skill in its own right, once they've learned the basics of translation. So within the product, you can configure the workflow, which decides what they get to do, and also just allocate those tasks to the students individually, and then you're able to track the progress and obviously see the results. So moving on to how that looks for the student. So for a student, it'll be logging in to their account, accepting a task in the inbox, and then they're able to open it in the online editor or in the Trados Studio desktop, so that they can learn to work with those tools, and also the resources that you decide to make available as allocated in the project. So if you've added translation memories, term bases, and as I say, optionally machine translation, which is also available for them if that's something you wanted to include. And then obviously complete any tasks. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to share the video. It's actually recorded by Lydia, just so that it would be helpful to show you this demonstration. So I'm going to just escape from this, and just to also mention again, so we renamed this product. It's completely our own doing, so if it's confusing, I do apologise, but we renamed this product from Trados Live Team to Trados Team. So if you see both instances, the thing to note is it's exactly the same thing. So I'm going to actually just pop out of sharing this screen and then share with you the video. Which I think is just coming now. Bear with me while that gets going. And this is about 10 minutes, so I'll see you the other side.
Hi, and thank you for listening to this brief explanation that touches foremost on what sort of exposure your students could anticipate should they have access to Trados Live Team, followed by what the lecturers and professors could plan for as part of their curriculum. My name is Lydia Simplicio, and with about 15 years experience, I've selected just a few highlights that pertain to the concepts and the localization process in general, alongside the latest technical capabilities that are supported through Trados Live Team. Via the campus program, your students would gain exposure and insights that will see them successfully transition from practicing scholars into equipped professionals within the localization industry. But when planning to implement something, we're conditioned to be cautious Do you have the right environment? Will there be compatibility issues? How are we going to manage the change? What's the degree of effort? To answer these questions quite simply, no and very little. Trados Live Team is a full online solution that can work from any device regardless of operating system, such as Apple, Mac, or Windows. I am going to share my screen so I can put this into context for you. As I share my screen, you will see that with internet access, scholars will be able to locate their inbox where they can find their tasks. Once accepted, they can open the task on the online editor. And while completing their exercise online, they will have access to all of the integrated resources as provided as part of the project parameters. Take segment 1 as an example. Here we see segment 1 showing translations obtained from the integrated translation memories. This guides consistency. We also have terminology that contributes significantly to quality based on the context of single words and phrases and how they are to be localized. We do, however, also include machine translation. In the case of segment 1, this is for the purpose of reference. Take segment 2 as an example where we don't have translation memories or terminology guiding us. We can leverage from the machine translation. In context views, as well as features like track changes, which will help mark up any revisions to be made, among many other features, does make the online editor the perfect environment to do translation and revision tasks online. While tutors and professors are predominantly dependent on Trados Live Team, choice of environment is supported by establishing integrations between Trados Live and our much-loved feature-rich environment of Trados Studio. Scholars can launch Studio directly from within the online editor. All that is required is the email address, confirmation of their password, and the client application of Studio is made available to them. Confirmation on the logon details can be found here on the top right-hand corner, and by filtering specifically for cloud-based projects, users and scholars can gain access to their projects and allocated tasks from within this environment. As lecturers and professors managing ongoing projects through the dashboard, managing the scholars themselves can be supported through the concept of groups. Groups can be based on individual lecturer preferences. For example, Tutor 2 is based on developing areas of expertise like the subject matter expert and project managing. Whereas Tutor 1, we see 2 levels that is distinguished by the outline of 2 different courses. This makes it easy to not only remove and add scholars as we see here within the first half admissions group, but it is also the concept of groups that facilitate task assignments. Task allocations are part of project workflows. Scholars could be allocated to a range of tasks based on curriculum objectives. Apart from project managers who focus on project planning, as well as translators and reviewers, workflows in Trados Live Team could also promote engineering. All allocated tasks are optional, with the engineering task found at the start of the project and potentially at the very end, where some projects may require DTPing as part of the final check. While engineers, strictly speaking, don't need to have linguistic skill, various degrees of awareness, including that of linguistics, would be beneficial. Not only to ensure prior to project creation that content is processed optimally, as we saw in the online editor, but also to ensure that the final targeted translations don't compromise the native file layout. Alternatively, other groups could be added as part of the final check including subject matter experts and reviewers. How you choose to configure your workflow is based on your course objectives, just as we saw with Tutor 1 and Tutor 2, which had two different types of courses being taught. By enabling and disabling certain tasks, you could accommodate simple requests such as translate only, through to workflows that incorporate an in-country review, which fell part of my Tutor 1 remit. While we then had Tutor 2, focusing on specialized workflows, such as post-editing. Using project templates alongside custom workflows, you can replicate various localization needs and complexities that occur in practice. Combined, we can automate many of the key requirements that in turn makes initiating a project for localization fairly easy and straightforward. Despite we are servicing two different lecturers, based on project location, it is their specific templates and settings which will be listed, allowing for the two lecturers the option to work independently. So for example, if I select Tutor 2, I have a drop-down list of just two project templates to work with. One is specific to post-editing. I am supporting my 3 languages and the associated workflow accordingly. If I were to go and change it to Lecture 1, Course Level 1, redefine the project template to that of translation only, which pertains to my Level 1 course. The number of target languages changed to 7, and the associated workflow changes accordingly. With that in mind, there's only just a few more areas that need clarification, and that includes my project name and the file that I want to include as part of this exercise. All other pre-requirements have been predefined, and as a professor or as a lecturer, I now have the option to either create my project and officially start the workflow, or if I wish to prepare ahead of time for my class, if I wish to leave my project in a dormant state until a later time, I can simply just create my project. But before we end the session, let's cover a little bit about the linguistic resources. Linguistic resources for any given project could include or exclude a combination of assets, namely the translation memories, the machine translation, as well as the term bases. Machine translation engines could originate from several providers other than our own Language Weaver, and empty comparisons between providers or even the benefits alongside translation memories could make an interesting topic for your course, as well as experiencing the localization process with or without a particular term base. The purpose of centralized resources, as we see here with your translation engine, is to ensure as much leverage and reference is given for both meeting time-critical work as well as for ongoing consistency. This is the heart of the localization process. By referencing and evaluating the output from several resources, scholars will not only be contributing to the growth of these databases, but learn to consider and evaluate all types of leverage and suggestions prior to confirming their translations, just as we saw via the online editor at the start of the session. Confirming and approving translations is a human-based decision, which over time, I'm sure your scholars will learn to be skilled at. On the topic of resources and databases, this too could be a great area to cover as part of your curriculum, as Trados Live team has editing views specific to both translation memories and specific to terminology that will help support ongoing data management through relevancy and the value. This brings me to the end of this brief introduction to Trados Live team and what it can offer to your place of learning. Please do follow our YouTube channel and our RWS communities page for more detailed information, not only about the campus program, but where you'll find more detailed explanations around some of the topics that I have introduced. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks very much, Lydia, for that. And I know that some people had a problem seeing the video. Apologies if that was the case for you. This is being recorded, so I will share this recording afterwards, and hopefully all will be clear. So I just thought I'd clarify briefly where we are with what we've covered. So for a lecturer, the Trados team, or Trados Live team, technology allows you to plan your projects, plan tasks and resources in the cloud for students to work on. And for you, it's a case of logging into the browser, setting up your students and your tutor groups, importing resources perhaps to work on, translation memories, term bases and so on. Also, just to set up your tasks, create a project, configure the workflow if necessary, and allocate those tasks to your students. And then you're able to track the progress and assess results. And from their side, they're able to work in the online editor in Trados team and in Trados Studio. And those tasks that they work on could be project management tasks, translation tasks, review tasks, and you can obviously attach resources as you see fit. Yeah, so for them it should be quite straightforward in the sense of once they're set up with an account, to log in, accept a task, and work on it either online or on the desktop. And it gives them the ability to work with resources and understand how a capital works as part of their translation learning as part of your curriculum. So that was it really from the point of view of what we have to share. So now it's an opportunity for you to ask a question if you have any. And I'm just going to see if there are any questions. So there's one question somebody's already asked about a recording of this webinar. Has been recorded, so it will be available. I'm going to send an email round in a couple of days with the recording, also a couple of links that will be hopefully helpful for you about the programme and joining the programme. So that's one thing that I'd like to cover there. Also, thanks very much for asking about how to join the programme. So I'm actually just going to put in the chat function if I can find it, a link. So I've got a Q&A panel and a chat panel, so let me just see if I can move my windows around and find that. Alternatively, I can type in here. So from the point of joining the programme, I'm just going to share a link in answer to that question. So ideally, to join the programme, if you could go to fill in our form online, and that would be the link that I've just put into the Q&A. Hopefully you can see that. And then somebody's asked about internships, so I can definitely put you in touch with more information on internships. And from that point of view, it's probably better to email us directly. And the way to do that is to email us at campus.rdws.com. So I'm going to make that available in there. So somebody's also asking about upgrades in terms of the programme. So previously, as part of our academic programme, we were offering perpetual licenses. We don't offer those anymore, so it would be a case of joining up with the new technology, which is available through Trados team, and you don't need to physically upgrade because the licensing of Studio is via Trados Team. So the main thing there would be is if you've been on a perpetual license situation, please rejoin or email us to start with the new technology, and then you won't need to upgrade. So let me just look at some other questions I've got here. So what would be the reasons to use Trados Studio locally versus the online editor, which is a really good question. Does the online editor have more limited features? Yeah. So yes, I would say the online editor is a bit of a streamlined translation editor. So it does have all the main functionality of translation in Trados Studio. However, some of the tailoring of the project settings is not available, I would say, in the online editor. So in terms of those, very fine tuning of file type settings, quality settings, and batch tasks and so on, that is a bit more limited in the online editor. It's probably not important for students when they're learning to use the full functionality of those things in Trados Studio, I would say. So from the point of view of their tasks, probably the online editor is an adequate tool. Post editing. So somebody here is asking, what about post editing? So that's it's kind of up to you to offer the ability to use machine translation in your project tasks that you set up. So when you set up your task in Trados Team, you can basically attach machine translation as a resource, as in the same way that you would attach a translation memory or a term base. So machine translation is available in Trados Team just as an additional resource. So it's completely up to you whether you use that, and if you use that, then you can obviously use the tutoring of post editing as a tool in itself, or as a skill in itself, should I say. So it's completely up to your discretion. So there's a question here. There's a lot of focus on the cloud projects. Why is it? Do you think desktop is becoming obsolete? Okay, so it's just so from the point of view of this technology that we provide for teaching, everything is in the cloud, in the sense that the Trados Team technology is in the cloud. You set up your projects and you share the resources in the cloud. So what that does is it enables you to make your tutor groups and your allocation of tasks to your students centrally, give you an overview of what your students are doing. So from that point of view, it's in the cloud. Whether you want your students to work in the cloud or on the desktop, it's up to you, neither here nor there. The ability to work in the cloud is useful because everything is backed up. You don't need to have a server to do that or pay for a server to do that. And so it's cheaper, easier, everything's secure, everything's available immediately, everything's synchronized. So that from that point of view, that's why perhaps the cloud would be is beneficial. So somebody's asking for a link to self-service training. So most of the guides and resources for the program are available in our campus community. So and that, to access that, you go to community.rws.com, and I'm going to share this in a second, /campus. So I'm just going to pop that link actually in to answer that question for you. So it's community.rws.com, which is our main RWS community, and then within there we have a section for the campus. So right, So people that need to upgrade, best thing to do is to email us or fill in the form to apply for the new technology. We just say, so somebody's just saying my university just joined the RWS community, or beginners with Trados. So there are basic links to some how-tos in there and videos in there for getting set up in the RWS community campus community. So a lot of the how-tos that you have are in there. If you are not finding what you need, there's an awful lot of beginner information on our website on trados.com. So you could also look there. When I do the follow-up email, I will include some links that hopefully will be helpful. And you can always email us at campus@rws.com. So somebody's asking the question here, what is the difference between Trados Studio for professionals and the free version for students? There's no difference. It's the same. So the students have access to our Trados Studio freelance product, which is what we would normally sell to professional freelance translators. Are there tutorials on YouTube? There are some on YouTube. Yep, and there are some available on our website. So we do have a channel on YouTube for Trados, so you could look there. There's an awful lot of information. Some of it is a little bit out of date, but there are some tutorials on there. I would go to the community.rws.com/campus. So I'm just going to just have a quick scan through. There's quite a lot of questions actually coming in. So somebody's saying here, completely new to Trados, like to get some training on how to go around working with Trados and how to join in the first place. Yeah, okay, so the main thing there will probably be to start with an email to us or complete our form to join if you're a tutor, to get yourself set up with the guides and resources that we have available. Just trying to scroll down and answer what I can. So a question here is, are there discounts for students on Trados Studio software? Yes, there are, and there's a form for them to fill in, and I could show you some of these things on the website actually in a moment. And they basically just need to show their student credentials just to confirm that they are studying as a student, and then we can give them a special discount on the product. Is there a way to get temporary licenses for client-based versions of Trados Studio? No, not as part of our program. Basically, you license your students directly through Trados Team. We make all this technology available free to you. If it's not what you want to do, that's completely fine. It's up to you, but you have the ability to have everything for free in that way. So somebody's asking, is Persolo included in the campus program? Yes, it is. Contact us separately about that. Email us at RWS at campus at rws.com, and we can talk to you about Persolo. YouTube channel. Okay, I'll share the YouTube channel link in my follow-up email. That's something that I'm going to make a note to do. And okay, So what I'm going to do actually, I think might be helpful now, is if I just carry on with my presentation, just because I wanted to show you this is the community area where the main body of information is available for campus. So in the community.rws.com/campus is our main page here, and you'll see some information about and links, basic information there on that page. There's forums and some of our videos of how to get started in there. And then when you've joined the campus, you can then join one of these groups, and within the group area on the community, you will find a lot more guides and resources available to you. So you join whichever group is suitable, whether you're a professor or a student, and there's more information in there. So that's essentially the end of my main content. Very happy to be working with universities. I think what might be helpful as well is to share, if I can just get to my browser, I was going to try and show you the link. Basically, I'm just going to drag that into my window here. So this is the form to fill in if you're not yet a member of the campus. Just simply fill in this form and email it to us. And this is also useful for you to do if you're an academic institution that's previously used perpetual licenses. Please just use that link that I dropped into the Q&A there to complete this form. I will put that in the follow-up as well. So I also just wanted to mention this is our web page for the RWS campus. So you can find out more information by linking through on the page here for various things. And also wanted to mention for those people that are looking for help and guidance, if you don't find it in our community page, this is Trados team. And within Trados team, there's an awful lot of information, and I've had to use this myself. So there's documentation. So you just click on that question mark and go to documentation, and that will take you to documentation about the product. So you'll find there's quite a lot of information in here. That's at your fingertips from within the product. And then also the help and support area. If you, I don't have a contract, so you can go and find out. This actually just takes you to our community pages, which I think is quite helpful because within the community pages for the products, you can find the particular forums relevant to the product that you want to find out about, and then you can ask a question or follow a conversation in there. So I find that quite helpful when I get stuck, which happens to us all. So I just thought it would be useful to see that from within the product and how that looks. Okay, so I'm going to need to wrap up. Thanks so much for spending the time with me. I know that there's a few unanswered questions, but I'll try to attach links that will help hopefully to answer some of those things in my follow-up email, which will come out in a couple of days. So just to reiterate how to get in touch with us, rws.com/campus, and you can email us on campus@rws.com with your various requirements. Hopefully we'll try and help you. Don't forget, everything that we give you is free. If it's not exactly what you want, maybe we can find a way within that to help you with your teaching and your courses. So thanks very much for listening and joining me today. I really appreciate the time with you, and all the very best, and have a great rest of your day.